Hey, this is Passy from Passy's World of ICT, the guy with the totally awesome videos and the white hat. And this is the one everyone's been waiting for, the Python turtle rainbow colors. But we had to do all that other work before we could get to the stage of making these beautiful rainbow drawings. And that's what we're going to be doing in this lesson. So we're going to build on all of those previous lessons you've done so far, lessons 1 to 6. So you need to have done them in order. You can't just jump straight to the rainbow colors one because you won't know about RGB color numbers. You won't know about loops. You won't know about percent remainder dividing. You're not going to know about so much stuff that you need to know to be able to do this. But it's not kind of an overwhelming amount of stuff, but you need to have done those previous steps. So the big thing in this is we're going to learn about how to use a storage array. And storage arrays in program memory are really important in computer programming. So the lesson you learn here by making the fun rainbows is actually going to be very useful for other parts of our course, like for the homework excuser program we're going to be doing later on. All right, so we had this kind of spiral here, this squares one in plain colors, which look pretty good. And in this lesson, we're going to learn to make it more detailed and have it come out rainbow colors. All right, so it's going to look really spectacular, and that's going to be great when we get that done. So the Python programming course, remember, it's over on PassyWorldOfICT.com, and if you click on the Python button, it'll show you the course, and that way you can work out all the lessons you should have done before this one, and also what's coming up in the course and what you need to do. All right, so let's just jump across and check that out to remind you guys. All right, so here we are on the Passy's World of ICT website in the Python course. And if you go down here, you'll see the lessons. So you should have done this first lesson about the IDE, the Interface Development Environment. Then you needed to learn to draw shapes and color them in fill them in with different colors. How to lift the pen up and pen down if you wanted to make multiple shapes in a row. How to do these spirals, because you'll need this yellow spiral from that lesson and the tube spiral. To be able to do this rainbow spiral, because we're basically going to take them and turn them into rainbow spirals that look a lot more spectacular. We had the really interesting fractal patterns one there. They're using RGB colors. We are going to be using RGB colors. And we also did random RGB colors, which we haven't got up on the website yet, but the video has been done for that. And finally, we're on to this one, the rainbow color patterns. That's the one we've been building up to with this course. And this is probably where we'll end the turtle course for now. And then we'll get into sort of making some little games in Python. So come back to this page, you know, in a month's time, and you'll probably see a whole bunch more lessons stacked up underneath here. All right, so the learning objectives for this lesson. Now remember, I'm a bit of a slow talker, so use that tools cog on the YouTube play bar just to change the play speed so it's like 1.5 or even 1.75, and you'll probably find the video flows along a lot better and it's not too slow for you. So while making the rainbow patterns, we're going to learn about the G BIV, that rainbow set of the 7 colors that make up the rainbow, because that's how we're going to get a rainbow forming in our patterns and our pictures that we're going to be making. Now we need to set up storage compartments in this thing called an array, which is kind of like a big storage box where we can store items all of the same type. And the items of the same type we're storing are individual RGB color values that are going to progressively take us from red all the way across to the end of the rainbow, which we'll show you shortly. So we're going to learn how and why the array index reference number, for when you want to jump ahead through those colors one by one, why that starts at 0, which is kind of weird in programming, and that's the same in a lot of languages, and it doesn't start counting at 1. We're going to learn how to use that index to read the array and get ourselves a specific RGB color that we need for the current shape we're drawing in our big full pattern of shapes. We're going to learn how to do the processing loop that will progress us through that rainbow colors array and make the rainbow. We're going to do the percent remainder processing again, which I think we looked at in another lesson, but if we haven't, you're certainly going to learn it in this lesson. And by doing all of that, we're going to make these beautiful rainbow shapes. All right, so rainbows are formed. There's sort of 7 primary colors in the rainbow. There's red, and then that fades into orange, and then you get to your yellow. Then you've got green in the middle there, sort of getting into light blue, into a dark purpley blue, which is called indigo, and then it kind of goes to your violet, kind of magenta pink colors like that. All right, so that's kind of the Roy G BIV. If you've done physics or science, you might have learned that as the light color spectrum, because if you mix all those colors together, you will actually get the boring color white. Right, so you may have learned that already. If not, that's the order they go in, and that's the order we're going to progress through them in our shape, starting off with red and finishing it purpley pink. So to make a rainbow drawing, there's actually someone, thank goodness, has done this huge list of RGB color values, and it's at this web link here, which you can go to, and we're going to be going to during the lesson and using that big list that they've put into a storage array, because they've got all the colors starting at red and then all the in-between colors till you get to orange, some colors that'll take you to yellow, then all of the colors that'll progress through green to light blue, into blue, and eventually take us to purple and pink. So someone's done all that work, and there's a whole lot of colors to get through all these colors gradually and make a rainbow. And that's the main point of doing this lesson. So there's 3 challenge tasks, and we're gonna have some new colorful shapes we haven't done before too. So we're gonna have like this hexagon's tunnel and kind of make it like there's a bullseye at the end of the tunnel there. We're gonna have this is a new spirals pattern, which we found a teacher in New York City made this guy. And that is really good because it kind of goes forwards and backwards with the spirals and almost makes it look kind of like a pinwheel when you've got the finished rainbow color version, which we've made from his plain version. Then this was another spiral we found that uses a thicker pen width for drawing the lines. And Harina had this really nice purple and yellow kind of going from the outside in, really giving that kind of tube effect like you might see as a background for some James Bond movie or something exciting like that. So great projects to do, and once you've done the example projects, you'll be able to do these challenge projects. It's just a matter of slotting in all of the rainbow code where it is needed. All right, so let's jump across to the PDF and get into the detailed lesson. Okay, so when you get the downloads for this lesson, you get this detailed step-by-step PDF document. And so if your school doesn't let you watch YouTube videos, your teacher can get these downloads for you and give it to your whole class so that people can do it using the step-by-step instructions. And then like you can watch the video at home the day before, or if you're doing it for homework and you get stuck, you can watch the video to find out how to do it. So we're gonna make these fabulous rainbow colors spiral. Now, how do we get them? Remember, we learned how to make RGB numbers in a previous lesson. So if you completely turn on the red part of a diode, an LED, light emitting diode on a screen, you'll get a dot which is red colored. And if you have green at 0 and blue at 0, then that will give you full on bright red. So that's the first color we're starting at, 25500 for our rainbow colors. Then we need to progress through all of these ones. So at this web page here, what you'll find is that someone set up, these are the reddish colors. So notice they're not using 255 though. Let's just zoom in on that and we'll show you. Okay, now how do I scroll along here? Here we go. So we're starting off with 1. So they're using the RGB version 1.0 instead of using color mode 255. They're using color mode 1.0. What happens there is that 1.0 is full brightness of the red diode, the 255 value, and the other one's a percent. So the next color is you've got 0.03. So you've got 3% added of some green as well. And then you keep adding more and more green. Notice if you look at the maths, they're going in 0.02 increments here. And as we add more and more green to that full red, what'll happen is it'll start making an orange color until when you've got red with sort of half green, then you get kind of the first of the oranges. Then you can progress through the oranges till you get to yellow, where yellow is kind of all red and all green will make yellow. So someone's worked out all these RGB numbers, but they're not in the 255 notation. They're kind of in the 100%. 1.0 is 100%. And if you see something that's 0.93 here, that means that the green is the next one. Green is set to 93% intensity. So green's almost turned up all the way on the diode, all right? So that's gonna give us our Roy G BIV continuous colors. So that's great that Ashok did that for us, and we thank that person so much. Okay, so all of it's there, and you'll just be able to copy and paste it from that link. okay, which you can click on the PDF document and get all that colors list you need. Now, what are storage arrays? We need to talk about those a little. So in computer programming, we often store groups of related data in a memory container that's subdivided. So, you know, like when you open up your kitchen drawer and you've sort of got all your spoons in one and your knives and forks in another one and utensils, we've kind of made all these compartments to store all these kind of similar things, like they're all for eating our food with, but there's kind of storing different ones in different things, just like our colors are all in the rainbow, but we're kind of storing the different colors in different spots in our compartments. Now, when you have a compartment, like here we've got, think of it as being like a stack of 10 drawers where we've stored all these different colors or whatever we're storing. Could be storing a random number between 1 and 10 or something like that. But anyway, we've got 10 of these drawers here. Now they actually start the numbering at 0. All right, so this isn't drawer number 1. The computer starts counting at 0, and that's all because inside the computer, it's not using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's using these 0, 1, 0, 1 and 1, 1, 0, 0, all these binary numbers, base 2 numbers. And so the computer starts counting at 0. So this is drawer 0. Then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So when we get to drawer 9, that's actually the 10th container in our array. And this one in the middle, well, you'd think, okay, well, that's number 5. That's halfway along 10. No, it's actually drawer number 4. So everything's kind of like one less than what you think it should be, but you need to kind of get used to this. So here's a storage container, one in the real world, not inside computer memory, that's storing in position 0 here. The first one, we've got forks. In the next position, which would be index 1, we've got our knives. Then we've got index position 2, the third one has got forks, index position 3 and index position 4. So we would look at those and go, oh yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 containers, and there still are 5 containers, but the way the computer counts them is that there's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how it does its counting to count up to 5, all right? And how we access each kind of container is that this first one with the 2 forks in it, that's utensils brackets 0. That's the first one. And if we want this last one here with the wooden kind of implements in it, you would have to write utensils brackets 4, because remember the computer went 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the 4th one with utensils. So the way you access it is utensils brackets 4, all right? Or that's how you write down what that array is. Now this is all brand new and kind of students find this complicated, but don't worry, we'll be doing arrays again later in the course. So if you don't quite understand them today, don't worry, you don't get everything the first time, but later in the course we'll talk about them more. All right, so the storage container for our Python rainbow, see, we've got all these colors we're storing in different compartments. Now this first compartment here has the color red, which is 100% on the red pixel, green is at 0 and blue is at 0. So remember RGB, which we learned in the previous lesson, and then we're introducing a little bit of green here along with our red. So these are called color values, and each one of these is a triplet, and you separate them with commas. So this is one item in a container, a triplet of colors, RGB colors. This is an RGB color mixer. This would be container number 2. But remember, the computer would call this one number 0 and call this one number 1, just to make everything confusing. So each triplet in the array is called an element. So this is our first element, or our first item in the array. It's at position 0 in computer talk and index value 0. This next one along is at position 1 and index value 1. Then we'd have triplets, groups of 3 RGB color numbers at positions 2, 3, 4, 5. We've actually got lots and lots of them. You need a lot of those guys to get all the way through the rainbow from red all the way up to purple and pink. So the deep red colors at color 0, and we can write a variable. We have a variable called index, which we'll just abbreviate as IDX, and that's going to be the number compartment that we're up to. So when we're at compartment number 0 here, the IDX value is 0. When we're at colors square brackets 1, okay, that means we're in the next compartment along, index value number 1, all right? So colors brackets index is how you write down the location of where your color is. So in Python turtle programming, it kind of looks like this. The current color is going to equal colors brackets 1, all right, which is going to pick our second color, which will be slightly getting a little bit orange from red, but still look pretty red. And then we're going to go turtle.color is whatever our current color is. Okay, so we'll be able to change the pen turtle color, gradually moving along through our big long kind of storage compartment of all these different colors. All right, they're always hard to understand, so don't stress if you're not getting it yet. So here are some of the colors, all the ones that take you from red through to yellow. And you can see here that we've got kind of position 0, position 1, position 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all these groups of 3, 7, 8, and it goes right across the page. So there's going to be a few hundred, I think, in here to get through the whole rainbow, but we can just copy and paste that, remember, out of that Instructables link there. So to get our spiral tube of rainbow circles, how are we going to get that happening, that we turn our old program like this into the beautiful kind of rainbow colors that's totally awesome? That's the stuff we want, those rainbow colors. All right, how are we going to do that? Well, we've sort of got all of our old program from the circles, all right, but then when we get to drawing the circle, in that definition for drawing the circle, we're going to use an array to have this full list of color numbers we can do. So it has to be put in the def subroutine. So in there, we're just going to take, this is just comments here telling you what you need to do. You need to go to Instructables and do Control-C to copy this whole colors. So colors from the square bracket all the way through to where the square bracket ends. Okay, so you need all of those colors. You need to highlight that and do Control-C, Control-V, and then it should look like this in your program. And over this right-hand side, it's going to keep going like right along kind of the screen, you know, as you're looking at it. And then the rest of the code, after we've got that in there, we just need that the current color equals the color index position, okay? And we'll be setting the index up shortly. And the turtle color is the current color. So whatever color we're up to in this list of colors, in this big storage array compartments, whichever compartment we're on at the moment, we want it to do that color for the turtle pen color. So the code for setting this up, so that's going to be in the def subroutine, but in the main subroutine, at the bottom of the program, we had all this stuff and we were passing bigger and bigger side lengths. So what we need to do is we need to have some more lines of code here that the index equals index plus 1. So at the start of the main processing, of course, we're going to have this, that you have to set up the index originally. So we're setting the circle radius to start at 30. You're setting your color index to start at color 0, which is that full-on red color. And then as we've done a circle, so the first circle will be a red one, and then we're just going to add one to the index so that it keeps moving through the colors. All right, and when we run the program, you can see it starts at reds in this little area, then progressively gets to oranges and yellows and greens and blues and then purple. So that gives you the kind of rainbow as it's spiraling out and the circle's getting bigger. We're gradually going through the rainbow from red through all those color numbers that are in that big color numbers array, and we're getting the whole rainbow thing happening. All right, so pause the video, try that out, make those changes to your original circle program, and if you're stuck, just get this download so that you've got the full set of code and you can look at it and see where your code is having its problems, because maybe it isn't exactly the same as this code. All right, welcome back. One other thing we told you, that if you want kind of a less twisting kind of tube, it's a bit hard to see here, but it'll look much better when you run it on your own screen. It doesn't twist up quite as high. What you can do is you can add this turtle.write 2.5, okay? Instead of using turtle.write going 4, just try turtle.write 2.5. And that will give you, and change the initial starting position of the turtle too, so it's up in here. So you'll need to have this kind of stuff for the starting position, and instead of turning right 4, turn 2.5 degrees and see what happens with that. Now we're going to make the rainbow spiral of tilting squares. So previously we had this one. I'm going to turn it into a much more detailed spiral to look like this. So here is our previous program, and we're just going to make changes to it. All right, so that's all of that. Have we made the changes yet? No, we have not made changes yet. All right, so that's the original program you should have. If you don't have it, well, you'll need to type it in so you have got it. And that original one will make these yellow spirals here. Okay, so you've got to have that to start off with before we can even try making that. And once you've got that, we're going to change a whole bunch of lines of code. So the one that says turtle forward 50 plus repeats count, we're going to change that to be turtle.forward 0.5 asterisk sign, a star sign, times the repeats count. We're going to do multiplying instead of adding. Okay, so that's going to be something. So you need to do 0.5 and that shift 8 on the keyboard gives you that star symbol to do multiplying. Then where we're turning 91 degrees, we're actually going to turn 98 degrees to the right instead. And instead of just doing 300 repeats, we're actually going to do 1,000 repeats. And that gives us a super detailed spiral with the color changes, but it'll take a bit longer for the turtle to draw it all. And we need a much bigger setup, a bigger screen to draw it on. So we need a width 800 by 600 screen, reset the turtle here, hide the turtle on the second last line of the program before we have this one here to make it stay on there after it's finished drawing. Okay, we're going to have to hide the turtle. So you need to make all those changes to that original program. And when you run it, what should happen is instead of just this kind of squares open spiral, you'll have this super detailed spiral with lots of spiral kind of wings on it, if you like. And this one's going to look a lot better when we make it into a rainbow one, all right, than this one will. So you should be able to get that. That's kind of step one. Okay, program change number 2 is to add the array of rainbow colors. So what we need to do is where we're doing our background color black, and it's making the turtle color yellow, we need to put in that big colors array copied from Instructables. So we get that into our program again. And we need to have an index. So where we've got repeats count equals 1, you're going to have to set the color array index to 0 as well, so it can start at that first 0 color, which happens to be red. And then inside the loop, while the repeats count is less than 1,000, it needs to be changed from 300 to 1,000. Make sure you've got color equals the color's index value, and then you change the turtle color to be this particular color, and make sure at the end of the loop, at the bottom of that while loop, that you're adding 1 onto the index each time. All right, so you run the updated program, and what happens is, unfortunately, the program runs out of colors too quickly. Because we're having 1,000 repeats here, there aren't enough colors to do it. So we kind of started going our red, yellow, green, blue, and then we conked out, because if you go in an array, if you kind of go too far, you kind of fall off the edge and the program crashes. All right, so it's a bit like if you're going through all of your drawers, down, 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 eventually you hit the floor of the room and you can't go any further and you get stuck and then it all crashes. Okay, so we didn't have enough sort of colors there. We used up our colors too quickly and ran out of colors too soon. So what we need to do is we need to make the colors stay around a bit longer. So we need to do the colors, repeat doing them several times. And so we make the color value go 1 step forward in the array only on every 10th repeat. So we can actually do 10 little squares, just all in red, and then we'll change to the next color and do 10 slightly orangey red ones. And when we get to yellow, like we'll actually be doing 10 yellow lines in the repeat. So we're only going to make it do it every 10th repeat. So only when the repeat count value is divisible by 10, like if we're up to 10 lines, 20, 30, 40, then we're going to change the index and make it go up by 1. So what you do is, in Python, to check if a number is divisible by 10, we go if n%10 double equals, if it's exactly equal to 0, that means there's no remainder. All right, so we have to change the repeats loop here. We don't just add index 1 every time we've done a repeat, or we're going to run out of colors really quickly before we can get anywhere near finishing our spiral. So we only want it to change along that colors array every 10th repeat. All right, so you just put if repeats count is divisible by 10 with no remainder. So if you're on like repeat 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 180, because remember we're going up to like 1,000, 970, 980, 990, 1,000. That's when you'll change color. And when you do that, you'll find you don't run out of colors. And you can see here, we stayed on red for a while, we stayed on orange for a while, we stayed on yellow for a while, green. You can see where we've kind of stayed on the same color a bit, and that's kind of given us our rainbow changing from red gradually out to violet. So we've got our Roy, G, BIV, rainbow colors. And oh my goodness, it looks so totally awesome. All right, so that's the ultimate magnificence in the Python turtle programming. That's why we've come through these 7 lessons to reach that point. And we've reached 24-minute mark of the video. There's also one here for a rainbow eye, so you can get this code from the download. See, that's where we've got our color array copied in. and that will kind of make this rainbow eye. So that could be interesting for you to do and look at. And then we've got the challenge task. So challenge task 1 is there's this sort of hexagon tunnel and it needs to be made into a rainbow one, so it looks like you've got a bullseye there at the end of the tunnel, or a target at the end of the tunnel. So here's the code for making that rounded hexagon tunnel, the plain one, and then you need to figure out how to make it rainbow colors. So get the downloads and look at this, and then you'll be able to make that really nice kind of rainbow color hexagon spiral. Challenge task 2 is this really nice reversing one that this guy Eric N, who's a teacher in New York City, put up on the internet, and I found this by Googling, and this one over here was his version, kind of purple background and yellowy gold, and that looked really good. So the triangles sort of go one way, and then after so many repeats they start tilting the other way, and then they start going the other way again. So you get this really nice kind of like a whirly-gig kind of pinwheel thing here when you put it into full-on rainbow colors, and it just looks, that's maybe one of my favorite rainbow spirals, that one there. So Eric had this one. We've done all the work to actually get it. It didn't work for some reason on our Python. Maybe this wasn't Python 3.7 compatible, I don't know, but it didn't work. So I had to make quite a few fixes to get this one working. Then we made the rainbow one, and you should be able to do that. But there are some important notes here that you'll have to start the color array index to 0 inside the def shape routine. So not in the main routine. Remember, you set the index to 0 inside the def shape routine, but you did see that in the examples, and it's not using 255 colors, it's using those 1.0s. So make sure you go turtle.color mode 1.0. So it's in RGB percent kind notation. And then you'll have the problem of running out of colors. That's a common problem when you try and make one of these spirals. So you'll have to do that kind of percent division type things for that. Now, every 5th triangle isn't actually the best one to divide by. You certainly don't need to go to every 10th line of the triangle, and you don't need to go to every sort of 7th triangle, but 5th, you can go better than that. We'll just say that. All right, so play around with that number. Don't use %5, use % something else till you get the best spiral. And what the best spiral will be one that looks exactly like this. See how it's kind of red and orange, and then when the triangles changed direction, it went to green, which kind of really made that effect turn out really good. And there is a magic number you can use in here, and it's not the number 5 to do that. And this is the code for the reversing spirals triangle. So that's Eric N's original one, which we fixed up to run in Python 3.7, 3.8. And you can get that from the downloads, and then you can make it into a rainbow one. Then there's Brian's spiral. I think this is a guy called Brian made this one, and the pen thickness is thicker than normal, but that's a really nice spiral. So you can go to Brian's website and get that and try that one out just to see what it looks like. And his code shows how to change the pencil width as well. And try out this one from Harina, which was posted on Twitter. That's a really nice looking kind of spiral as well. So maybe don't do both of them, just pick one of them to do. And that's the end of the lesson. And that's pretty much the end of our totally awesome Python turtle lesson. So you won't need to be wearing this t-shirt going totally awesome anymore, because we've got a new Python t-shirt, which will premiere in the next video. So let's talk about that. All right, so remember our programming course is at PassyWorldOfICD.com Python, and that's when you can see when the next video is coming on. And have fun programming with Python. Give this totally awesome video a thumbs up, like, and subscribe to our channel, because then you'll see when the next videos are coming, especially the very next video where we won't be totally awesome. We're going to have a brand new Python shirt to show you, and yeah, I'm really sure you're going to love it. All right, and we'll see you then in the next lesson.